It is 6 o'clock. We'll begin this meeting and welcome everyone. It's nice to have a full house. We haven't in the last couple of months.
We all thought we was gonna get presents.
Cookies, yes. So let's go through and record the members present. I think with the exception of Dr. Eversole, we are all present. And then we say the Pledge of Allegiance, and Mrs. Nemo is going to present our two students who are going to lead us in the pledge.
You guys wanna come up here, I'll read what little I have about you, and then you can lead us. We have Addison Davis in 9th grade at THS. Her teacher is Coach Ray. Parents are Kim DeGase and Clay Davis. Addison loves softball and playing it for THS. Traveling to softball tournaments around the country with her little sister and family, and her favorite place to eat is Panda Express. Have Emery Tidwell, 9th grade at THS. Teacher is Mrs. Payne. Parents are Emily Langston and Damon Tidwell. Emery enjoys playing football and baseball at THS, spending time with friends and family, and his favorite place to eat is Chick-fil-A.
He's in business.
Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I told them they would have your yards.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Oh, you're fine. Oh, no, you're fine. Thank you. Wait. Okay. Well, Tara usually does this. It's not really sure. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Item B, Tiger's Roar, and we have, this is Board Education Appreciation Month, and we've gotten some wonderful gifts. Do you want to speak to that?
We do. I just want to say publicly, thank you to each of you and Dr. Dana Eversole, who maybe is watching at home. She's ill this evening and couldn't be here. But we are extremely fortunate to have the dedicated, educated women that serve on this board. Every person here is here for the good of kids and for the staff that works at TPS. They have the final decision on every decision that we make, and it's always with that in mind. And that's not always the case, and so we are extremely fortunate that we have people that love Tahlequah. I mean, when you talk about bleed orange and black, that these ladies fit that bill, and they just want better. They want the best we can have for every kid here, and so they push us for that. I am thankful that they push us for that. I'm thankful that you hold us accountable, because holding us accountable is what's going to help us change and improve all the different aspects of Tahlequah Public Schools, and that's what's needed to make positive change. And so thank you. You know, they get paid a whole bunch for this job, absolutely zero. So what they do get is 1 month of appreciation. And so today our building, all of our buildings have gifts that have been presented to them. We have a special board meeting, and with me, unfortunately, I get a lot of special board meetings too, because there's always lots of things going on, and we have lots of good ideas about what we want to happen here, and they go with they roll with it on that. But we had gotten these sweatshirts, so we all wore them tonight. They had to do some on-camera interviews, which I give a little bit of warning about, but they were all a good sport and did that. We've tried to put something out on social media about them individually and them as a group. We've been doing that all month long, and we just really appreciate everything that you do. I can't thank you enough. I couldn't choose 5 better bosses. And so thank you, from the bottom of my heart. I think we have a video. Short and sweet like most of us. Not everybody's short on this, but some of them. But again, thank you for all you do. They are involved, they are present, they ask good questions that push us into making improvements. And again, we couldn't get any better. We won't have it. So, I vote that it stays the same for, until I retire, but.
Well, we all appreciate the support you give us, and I love the sweatshirt because I've noticed in almost every picture, I have a parent with 4 blouses. I've had them about 10 years, so.
We'll keep that note in our head.
Next, we are going to look at the Gear Up grant. Who's speaking to that?
So we have Cassie Landers. She is the Gear Up Site Director for Tahlequah Public Schools, and many other staff, state level staff, building level staff, probably district level staff. And they are here tonight to talk about the new Gear Up grant.
Yes, thank you for having me. Hi guys, good evening. So I'll read a little bit and then we have a presentation of our check and hopefully we can snag a picture with you guys. You guys tell me where to stand. I don't want to stand right in front of you.
He's over here, stand right there if you'd like.
Okay, we'll leave my shoulder. Okay, so on behalf of the Oklahoma State Regents for Higher Education Gear Up program, we appreciate the opportunity to speak to you guys this evening. Like Tanya said, my name is Cassie Landers, and I am the Gear Up Site Director for Tahlequah Public Schools. I'm honored and pleased to be here today to formally announce that Tahlequah and 12 other school districts across the state will be receiving Gear Up funding in the amount of $37.4 million over the next 7 years. So you guys got us for 7 years. Tahlequah has been an active participant in Gear Up, and we appreciate the opportunity to continue working with you guys in this next grant. We've made great strides in Oklahoma since being awarded the first grant in 1999. We look forward to carrying that momentum forward as we prepare more students to succeed in college in Grant 5. So we are entering Grant 5. This grant will help prepare middle and high school students for college success through direct student support services, effective educator professional development and leadership opportunities, as well as parent and family outreach activities and events. College can provide young men and women with important knowledge, skills, and experiences. However, it is no secret that navigating the college-going process can be challenging for families, especially first-generation students. We want students at Tahlequah to be equipped with the tools they need to succeed in higher education and beyond, so that they can not only expand their job possibilities, increase their likelihood of employment, and give back to our Tahlequah community. So overall, congrats to Tahlequah Public Schools. And we have our big check.
Do you want to introduce the rest of the Gear Up?
Oh, absolutely. You guys come on up.
I'm the picture taker.
Brittany, will you take a photo first?
So we have 2 wonderful college coaches over at Northeastern State University. They come with us a lot at the high school to really help segue the transition between that senior year into the freshman year of college. That can be very daunting, and like I said, especially for those first-gen students. So we have incredible help with Cassidy and Edwin, and so they are our NSU college coaches. And then we are very lucky to have Jolynn Horn with us today. She is over the Gear Up grant. She is the director of our Gear Up grant housed in Oklahoma City. So We're so lucky to have her.
Christy with us, who's our communications director.
Yes, and Christy, our communications director, so anything that we blast out Gear Up that you guys see on social media, that is very beautiful, I did not design that, it comes from Christy, so she's great with that. I also brought, some flyers of kind of what is Gear Up, if anyone's interested in those, I'm happy to give those to you guys. Sometimes if you're better just reading about it, we'd love for you guys to have the knowledge.
So
Okay.
who do we want in the picture?
The board members
The board
and-
and Tanya.
Whoever else.
Here you go.
You all say. We're like Penny come.
Yeah. Yes, there you go.
Hold on to it tight.
No. Believe me, she does.
Do we need to move down?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Here we go.
Alright. One more. Perfect.
Okay, just send it my turn.
Hang on, don't
Sorry.
It's jumped ahead of me.
For you.
And we just get a little closer to Cassidy. Ready? 1, 2. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a very, very valued partnership. What this does for our students has been absolutely amazing. College visits, FAFSA help, leadership training, ACT prep, you name it. It's helping us help our teachers improve their teaching, our leaders improve their leadership, and our students be prepared for whatever it is in life that they want. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us tonight.
Anybody wants any more?
Okay, item 300B, Title 4. Where is Miss Michaela Whittington? You'll come forward. Michaela received the OCIE award. She is the OCIE award winner. I do not know what that acronym.
I will explain.
Okay, all right.
Okay, thank you. It's my pleasure tonight to introduce to you Miss Whittington. She was the OC, which stands for the Oklahoma Council of Indian Education. It's a 5-decade-year-old organization that is made up of, you have teachers, retired teachers, you have tribal education departments, you have local school districts, you have some college professors. It's just an organization whose mission is to advocate for Native American students in the state of Oklahoma. So this December, Ms. Whittington was nominated for the Indian Teacher of the Year for this respective organization, and she was selected as the winner of that respective. What she does for our district, she is a great teacher at Heritage Elementary, and then she also sponsors a Cherokee Challenge Bowl and Language Bowl teams at the elementary level through Heritage Elementary for our JOM program. And then she also, I believe, does the Culture Hour during Boys and Girls Club for Heritage Elementary as well. So as the Indian Ed and JOM coordinator here at Tahquah, I'm extremely proud of Ms. Whittington, and she is very deserving of this respective award. So thank you, Ms.
Coach, come on up here. And while we're getting ready for the photo, I'll just say that Michaela has one of the best demeanors and attitudes and just auras about her of anyone I've ever met. She's always smiling. She is happy to be at work every day.
Cry now.
I feel like I made her cry. But she is one of the most enjoyable people to be around because she's just happy with life. And she spreads that joy with everything she does. And so I want you to know how much I appreciate that. And if I'm having a bad day, I can go to her class, she's gonna hug me, she's gonna love on me, she's gonna lift me up, and my job is to lift her up. So, thank you for being here.
Very kind.
Now stop crying and smile.
I know.
Congratulations. If you don't, I can send from my phone if you need another one too.
Oh, I got it. Okay, thank you.
we're in action, let me know.
Item C is public to be heard, and we do have Ms. Kathy Cock, who is going to speak. Let me read briefly the regulations for speaking. A resident wishing to address the Board of Education must fill out a form before the meeting and submit it to the board clerk. The speaker is to move to the lectern on being recognized by the board president and give his or her full name and address. The speaker will be allowed 4 minutes to address the board. Public comment will be limited to the first 5 individuals who sign up to speak and will not exceed 20 minutes. So, Ms. Cott, if you would like to proceed, it says to the lectern.
Thank you. My name is Kathy Carr. My address is 1214 South Ross Avenue, Tahlequah. And one of my children benefited from the very first program in Tahlequah. And it was excellent. I was happy to see that tonight. As the parent of former Tahlequah Public Schools students and a supporter of our schools, I would like to ask you to think deeply about what is about to happen to some of the students in our schools. LGBTQ+ students are already scared and feeling discriminated against due to the actions and words of State Superintendent Ryan Walters. The actions of our national government officials will put these students in further danger. Their actions will encourage even more bullying and intimidation by fellow students and, sadly, a few educators and staff. Please be advocates for all students and protect their rights not only as Americans, but as humans. Thank you.
Item D, discussion and vote to approve the minutes from the previous meeting, and this is the special meeting on January 9th, 2025. A motion, please.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Mrs. Nemo.
Aye.
Dr. Coffin.
Aye.
Mrs. Crawford.
Aye.
And I'm going to abstain because I was not at that meeting. Item E, Deputy Treasurer to report and discuss, and we will vote to approve or not approve the monthly financial reports. And
Good evening and happy Board Appreciation Month. The bank balance as of December 31st was $11,446,482.41. The month of December, the receipts in general fund were $3,410,039.03. Building fund was $17,758.67. Sinking fund was $67,725.42. That left us in the general fund with $4,663,100.29. Building fund was $4,934,915.44. Bond fund, we had $762,578. Sinking fund, we have $276,202.42. Go over to activity fund. Activity fund, we have $1,156,837.49. That was at the end of December. And then go over to our utilities. And electric, we paid $994 less from last December to this December. Gas, we paid $2,236 less from last December to this December, and water, we paid more. It was $2,440 more from last December to this December, and I think it's because we had a water leak at Green. So, and that's it. Any questions?
so our building fund exceeds our carryover fund,
Our building fund exceeds our carryover.
just does it, it seems
Right now it does.
Yeah.
We have we've just started receiving some of our reimbursements from the state
Yes.
for our school-wide consolidation and Title I claims. Those were, I think today, we got the final approval for that application, that consolidated application, which normally probably is approved in September, October. And we just got the approval today. So those are large funds that she's had the claims in, she's had the documentation, but you can't do anything until it's completely pushed through. So what you do, July through October on the first claim?
I have all of December in, but they just haven't approved it because the application's not approved yet. I think last time I looked, they owed us over $800,000 just in the Title I
So as soon as that is paid, that will change.
increase. Right.
Not necessarily such a bad thing, I know you've been saving
Yes.
the
and-
building fund when someone said about, it was mentioned earlier about, don't, be careful how you spend it, I thought, they don't have to tell Tanya, so
We have
she
plans.
can binge that.
We have plans, yes. And our general fund is a little bit lower than we wanted. Right now, of course, we wanna end this year with a $5 million carryover, but we just started getting all the claims paid. But then we will do a supplemental for our midterm adjustment, and that will put us back where we need to be. So, we're watching that closely, but, a lot of it just has to do with the state just now approving and starting to pay our claims.
Do we have a motion on this?
I will make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
Go ahead. I'll second it. One of us will.
Any more discussion? Ms. Lima?
Aye.
Dr. Kaufman?
Aye.
Mrs. Crawford, and I. Item F is the principal director's report, and first up is Robert Batson, who is our director of technology. I think one of the questions we had to answer on those two questions, which program is your favorite, and whoever speaks at the board meeting at that night, that's my favorite. Because I think, oh, that program, but it's hard to pick a favorite program, they all are.
It's a good problem to have.
It is.
So you're confessing that you didn't choose technology?
But next time she will.
Yes, I'll ask again tomorrow.
Ask as soon as you get done.
Can you have Clayton redo it tomorrow?
Yes, we'll go back.
Good evening, it's a privilege to be here and talk about what technology is doing at Talbot Public Schools. Of course, I'm Robert Batson, I think most of you know who I am, Director of Technology. And it all starts with a good team, which we have.
I'm gonna laugh out loud if you.
IT
problem.
I was thinking about So this is our crew. I have two part-time guys that work 10 to 20 hours a week, and then I've got two full-time guys. So Junior and Sam are our student workers, and then Jason and Curtis are our installation tech and help desk techs, and they do a great job. Interesting fact of the day, this is 2.0, last time I gave you 1.0, but Talbot Public Schools provides internet connections to over 3,000 devices every day. It's around 150 sessions, and that amounts to 600 terabytes of traffic per year, which is a lot. Again, that's my crew, kind of gives you a job description of what they do. All of them have a different knack, but they all do a great job. Both our student techs spend 95% of their time fixing Chromebooks and iPads, and cleaning them and all of that kind of stuff. Here is a summary of our work order performance so far this year. As you can see, most of our stuff is Chromebooks and interactive TVs. The high school is the majority of that work. We do try to do our best to get work orders done on time, as we have a 93% of requests are completed on time. But to be fair, maintenance has a lot more work orders than we do, so I'll give props to them. But we still have our fair share of work. Sorry, this is the same graph from last time. I don't know if you guys remember, we were talking about technology projects. We started replacing our switches about a year ago. It took about 9 months to complete, mostly because those had to be done not during production time or during the summer or weekends and so forth. But it's turned out to be very successful. And as you can see, it wasn't a straight arrow, it's kind of a little bit of
That's a great report.
moving around, but we're in a lot better spot in our infrastructure. Next, I think we talked about this last time too, is wireless. We had some issues last year with wireless that we wanted to get locked down, and it was one of our goals for this year, and we've done a lot of that implementation. I won't go into the super details of that, but it's more secure and should be able to segregate that traffic and work well, and we're expecting it to perform great for testing as the spring comes along. I did want to spend some time, it's probably been a while since we've talked about E-rate, and I know it's probably not the number one thing that you think about, so I want to give a refresher. E-rate is essentially a federal program that discounts telecommunication and internet access for schools and library. It was implemented in, I think, 1997 by the FCC and is administered by USAC, which is the Universal Service Administration Company. Discounts are given annually based on free and reduced percentages for a school district. They also can vary, and I'll speak on this in the next slide about which category of services they are. And so E-rate offers two categories of services. Category one is essential services, meaning internet services and WAN services. WAN services are essentially what connects our schools to the board office. So internet is getting internet here, WAN is getting all the schools here so they can get out to the internet. Category two services are anything that delivers that internet to a device. So that can be a firewall, network, wireless, cabling, routers, so anything that takes that internet connection and delivers it to a student device. Category two services are not renewable, it's not something we agree in a contract to go extensively, it's a one-time job and then it's done. Every school has a certain budget for 5 years, and it restarts after that 5 years, so we have a budget of $600,000, we don't spend all the $600,000 in that 5 years and it goes away. Alright, so this is what it looks like for Tahlequah. Tahlequah generally has a discount rate of at least 90% for category 1 and 80% for category 2. So that means they pay 90% of our internet connection and our WAN services and 80% of any of the internal working that we're doing. Of course, this is evaluated every year and it's based on the free and reduced count for the district. Our 5-year budget is around $550,000 for category 2. There is no budget for category 1. But for category 2, that means we have $550,000 that we can allocate to the E-rate, so for switches and network and all those kind of things. Generally advisable to use that budget if you have the means to pay for the other 10 or 20%. I think I've said this before. After that 5 years, that money goes away. So right now we are in year 5 of 5. We have about $250,000 left in that budget. And the majority of the category 2 budget we have spent in this last 5-year cycle has been on wireless. We appreciate you, of course, but do you have any questions about E-rate or
What about category 2 again? Tell me exactly.
what category 2 is?
Yes, what it is.
So that category 2 qualifies anything that takes that internet connection and delivers it to an endpoint, meaning a computer, so forth. So the switches that come into our environment that broadcast the internet out, wireless, the wireless access points, that's all category 2 because it's delivering internet to a device. Cabling also is included in that, firewalls are also included in that, routers. So any of those things. We can't use it to buy computers, we can't use it to buy other things, just things that are networked.
So you have in mind how to spend and how long before that money is gone. I mean, we have 200,000 left. Has to be spent by what point, what time?
So we're in the 5th year, so that will be the next item that we'll talk about.
Oh, okay.
But so, yes, we have, and to be, $550,000 is enough to replace all of our network stuff, so we have to be smart about it. So like, we used, borrow money or ESSER money for switching, because that was $550,000 by itself. So if you have to be strategic in that 5 years, okay, what's our greatest need? Wireless is usually it, but you don't have enough money to replace everything at once. So yes, we do have a strategy of the greatest need, so next cycle will be something different.
I have a question, and this may be a Sabrina question, but you probably know. So does this money come to us, or is it reimbursed to us, or is the discount applied and then someone else pays it? How does that actually work?
There's 2 methods. There's one where E-rate pays it directly, which is our preferred method. So yes, E-rate will pay the company and they'll send us a bill for the 10%. There's another method called BEAR, which is a reimbursement method where we would pay it up front and then they would reimburse us. But you generally don't run into that unless you have to get the product before they'll send money. So like if we just have to have it right now, we can use the BEAR method.
So, and is that, so we're voted, the next 2 contracts are for the Aero and the Consolidated Communication, and they are both under this, under
Yes.
category 1 and category 2.
Yep.
And with these, the company will be paid directly by E-rate and then send us a bill for the 10 and 20%? That's great.
And it's a decision we can make every year to choose to participate or not, but it would be not a good business decision to not participate when they will pay 80 or 90% of the cost.
Why would
Right.
anyone not participate?
If
they don't have the money
can't
to
come up with
match
the rest of
the
the matching portion.
Yeah, and there's been years where we passed it by, because it just wasn't the right fit or, it wasn't the money that you.
Yes,
I'd like to ask a question.
I'm fine. Are you fine? Yes.
Have you got plans to spend the money before the time's up?
Yes.
Good, good job.
So I think we have contracts later in the board meeting, and so when we get to those 2 other votes that have to do with this, if you have more questions, he's gonna be here that he can explain more in depth about that.
Yep. Appreciate you guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, I had a chance each time someone has got up here and talked about their area, I wanted to, brag on Robert. He does an absolute amazing job at what he does. It is one of my worst areas of knowledge in this position, and he takes care of everything technology related here. And as I have learned in the 3 years of this job, all the different pieces of it, I have not once had to worry about him taking care of what's in the best interest of TPS and all of the students and the staff that work here. And that is, means so much to me individually, because he's teaching me, I'm learning as you learn, I'm learning what WAN is or what category 1 to. I am a little bit of a mess when we can't turn something on and he has to come down here and make this, I still call it a smart board, it's not even a smart board. But thank you, he does an absolutely amazing job. He is a wonderful man with phenomenal integrity, and I really appreciate what you do.
Robert, what year is this for you at TPS? How long have you worked with before?
I started as a student worker in '01, so I think I went full-time in '03.
I just remember when, how quickly you would come to our aid as teachers and how little we knew, and I thought back about how frustrating it must have been to you. But the patience, you were so kind about it always.
He's still very patient.
Yeah, that does happen. Sometimes we make a frantic call and someone will run in here, come in the office in the early morning, take out the paper thing, take a piece of paper out or put it back in, push it in, walk out, and it works.
It makes us feel good. We still feel smart.
But thank you for witnessed it from the beginning. Item G, superintendent's report.
Right, as of this month, we have 523 employees, 3,659 students. That is a few students down, we had 3,673, but that fluctuates a lot right at the Christmas break or this semester. So we have 161 pre-K students with 17 additional pre-K 3 or Adventure Head Start, 435 students at Cherokee, 498 at Greenwood, 504 at Heritage, 714 at TMS, and 1330 at students at THS and Central combined. Right now, with the students enrolled, we have just a few transfer spots available at various elementary grades and no transfer spots available at Sequoia, TMS, or THS. Just a little fun fact, or I guess explanation from Victoria. So since January 7th, we have had 50 new enrollments and 54 withdrawals. So it stays, it went down a little bit, but you have a whole bunch come in, you have a whole bunch leave. It's literally a revolving door in that office. So she says that means when you look at the overall numbers, it doesn't look like they change drastically because of the in and outs, but they do on a daily basis. Very active pattern of enrollment. Just a bond update on the bond we are finishing, bond 2022, we will call that. We have reached out to, working with all of the leaders across the district. We have got, asked for information from all of our staff members. I put something out on the weekly email, tell me if you see something. Some of the things that we are working on, the TMAC steps, the block work will be finishing this week. They had to, I think, create the block, that had been there for a while, and to make it match, it was a little bit of a process to get block that looked the same. So that is happening this week, I'm sure weather permitting. We are getting quotes on flooring and paneling removal projects. We have ordered a Performing Arts Center, a new projector system at the Performing Arts Center, risers at Heritage, a brand new intercom system at the middle school. We have a couple $100,000 worth of roof repairs that we're going to do around the building. We are going to push that fence out at transportation, get an electronic gate, and work on the awnings. So when they're in the, working on a bus, they won't be in the elements. We've got major lists of things like that all around the building. So we're trying to finish up, in that last bond, there was a pot of money just for various renovations. So that's what we're doing with that. We're looking at all the little things that we can do right now with what we have left and dividing that up. So basically everybody gets something, like Oprah. So we're working on that. Update barn is attached to that. We're going to remodel an existing building to add on the ag barn. And because we are remodeling an existing building, we'll be able to use a little bit of those funds. Just a small drop of those funds can help us on that. But we got the GMP today. We'll have a contract for that in February. Like everything in construction, costs more than it was supposed to, but it is what it is. And we have great plans and ideas for our ag students, and so we'll be moving forward with that. But it's gonna cost us about $350,000 for the structure. We have a little over $100,000 in donation. I already had about $100,000 earmarked in building fund. It's one of the things that we have in building fund that we have planned for. And then we'll finish that project with bond funds and renovation funds. But we should have the contract next month. They'll be able to then put the order in for the iron. It takes about 8 weeks to get that. I would hope we would start putting up the iron structure in May, and our babies should be in their barn before school starts. So that's what we have been working for.
So is it the same place since because it was gonna be freestanding?
Well, it will be, yes, directly still behind where the ag building is right now, but we'll just attach it to that so we can use both structures. The old structure will really just be used more like as a tap room, but it gave us something to build onto to renovate an existing structure. So it should be everything that that we wanted. I know he's been helping us and giving us some opinions on that. So we are moving in the direction that we talked about in the parent meeting, so. And some of those things will still come in. I expect that price will go down. I really believe as people see that we start building, more people will step up and do some in-kind type things. Like I know that Mr. Wallace has some insulation that's going to be in-kind, and lots of other people in our community have said, hey, I'll help with, but I think they've waited to see if we're, put our money where our mouth is. And so when that happens, I think we'll have some people step up that will actually maybe reduce that cost for that. But the program is worth it, the kids are worth it, and they'll have a really nice space to work on their ag projects. December attendance, we've been working on Every Minute Matters this year. It's a little bit lower. Sequoia went from 90.8 to 88.8. Cherokee was a little bit higher, 92.9 from 92.6. Greenwood was 93.1 from 93. Heritage went down a little bit. They were 92.7 and they were 93.5. The middle school dropped to 87.3 from 91.1. High school dropped 89.7 from 90.7. But for the month of December, I was still pretty pleased with those numbers. December's a crazy busy month. It's a different type of month, a lot of traveling, holidays, and we've had a lot of illness. I would expect that our numbers for January are going to reflect that. I know that like right now at our pre-K building, we had one class that had 7 kids in it last week. Have a lot of RSV and flu, and so those babies particularly are just getting used to being in a building full of people, and their bodies aren't used to sharing germs with one another. So our attendance might drop a little bit because of the sickness we're seeing right now. Child nutrition data, we served 60,566 in all categories, meals, in the 15 serving days in December. We will pay Chartwell $201,225. We spent almost $43,000 in other bills. So we are in the red about $14,000 on that. Some of that are repairs, so we purchased a mixer and laptop. We had a great meeting with Chartwell's, was that last week? Time flies. And we're looking at some of the things that we are changing to get numbers up. We've got that, had some really great, it was a really good thought session, I thought. Just talking about, this is the contract we signed. There is a guarantee. They made us feel a lot better about the guarantee because, we've been a little concerned about running in red for a couple months. And some of that has to do with when things are reimbursed. Like the first couple months, I think we got some reimbursements for commodities that you don't for a couple months, and then they kind of catch up with that. So we really need to be able to look at a year before we make any kind of drastic decision on can we do this or not. So we left feeling much more confident. We have very particular plans on some ways that we can continue to get those numbers up. And we just need our families and our community to know food is free, and the way it's not free to us, it's free to families. So the way it continues to be free and the way we can afford it is if people eat. So we need kids to eat. Breakfast numbers, so we'll say across the district, 28% of the kids are eating breakfast. So that leaves us a lot of room for improvement in breakfast. So middle school and high school, we're gonna have those grab and go carts where those kids are coming in, and we want it to be something that they want, that's very portable, that they can grab, and literally what it is, grab and go. And then they can eat it then, or they can eat it when they're hungry. Some second chance options. They might not, when you walk, I'm an elementary and early childhood principal at heart. And when you go into the high school, and if I'm at the front door and I say good morning, they look at me like, why are you talking to me? They are not ready for communication and sometimes food and they're not happy a lot of times that they're walking into school at 8 o'clock in the morning. They would prefer to be in bed. So a second chance meal, that just means maybe that second hour, they'll make it where they might be ready for some food then. same kind of thing, getting that grab and go really going at the middle school. You know, those kids all kind of funnel through one place. And as they come through, you know, like, hey, here's your free granola bar and orange juice or whatever. It's gotta be a reimbursable meal, and I won't pretend to know particularly what that is, but whatever it is, we can't make them take it, but we certainly want to encourage them to take it. Number one, they need the nutrition. Number two, it helps all kids. And we have babies that need to be able to eat here and eat here for free, and we know that's really important to us. So we've got all that to say, we have some ideas, they will be better. Breakfast, 28% of them were eating, lunch 44%, and supper 17%. But that number is really skewed because that's 17% of all the kids enrolled, and not everybody stays in after school. Really, I think most of the kids that are staying in after school are taking that supper. So we're going in the right direction, and that's all we can ask on that. And valued partnership. Just a reminder on dates, the February 15th Hall of Fame, if you were attending that, and just again, graduation is on Sunday, May 18th at 2. That's a different time frame than normal, so I'm just trying to say that every month so everyone remembers. And that is all I have for today.
We have, Brittany sent us that as like I don't know if I put it on my calendar, and she usually sends us all the.
A calendar invite?
stuff, yeah.
If she has not,
She
we
may
will get
have,
one.
I was just curious, because I didn't want to take the time now to put it
I will put one in if there is not one.
in. I have it on my calendar, I don't know if it was from her or me, but you have it on your calendar, perfect.
Anything else?
No, ma'am.
Alright. Item H, and this is where Robert's discussion
Yes.
presentation comes in. Discussion and vote to approve the following bids and quotes. And the first one is from Aero IT Solutions, and then the other from Consolidated Communications for Juan for a 60-month term. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Now, this is the time for any discussion. We know we have 200,000 left, right?
250,000.
250. And look, 246,000 for one. That's perfect.
Good job, Robert.
And then 3,000 plus like 62 for the other, so.
Well, he can do math too.
Yes. So that's great. All right, any other discussion? Ms. Nemo? Aye. Dr. Coffin?
Aye.
Mrs. Crawford? Aye. And aye. Item I, discussion and vote to approve the following surplus. And we have one and two under that, from Cherokee and California Middle School. Motion?
Move to approve.
Second. Any discussion? Ms. Nemo? Aye. Dr. Coffin?
Aye.
Mrs. Crawford? Aye. And aye. J, discussion and vote to approve the adoption of the following policy. And this policy is policy 5156, special education child fine. Motion, please.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
We did not have a board policy for this. We have procedures for this. We we follow all of the law of putting it out into the local paper. It just wasn't in policy. And as you know, we have been spending a lot of time looking at our board policy, and finding things that need to be fixed or updated, and we ended up just contracting with OSSBA to do that. But because we did not have this in policy, we didn't wanna wait until we had their edits. We thought it was imperative to go ahead and get it in. And so all this does is actually put in board policy the procedures we've been doing for child find all along.
And it was actually in another policy with our eligibility requirements, we had it written out in that, so we'll edit that later, but they advised for a standalone policy.
I just want to say, I didn't know that we did this to this extent, and knowing that we already were doing it and we're just putting in our policy, and this is a comprehensive steps of identifying children in our district
who may qualify for special ed services and like going out to find them. So their parents know that maybe if these kids aren't in school or that, you know, they're in foster care, so whatever it may be, that we have services that we by law have to, but will provide. And I, just reading it, I was like, oh, I didn't know, and when you sent it to us, you said, we already do this, but it's not, and I didn't know that we did that type of specific outreach looking to identify kids who weren't already in the system. And it was, and I understand why we would, and that why it's both required and needed and helpful, but I just hadn't ever thought about it, and that is an area that I don't think, since I've been on the board, that we have had a presentation on.
Oh, Nemo, let's stop that right now. One more year, please.
Nikki, is there anything you wanna explain else on that we've not?
No, I mean, really, we have the procedures, we partner with Sooner Start for that, and that's that piece of early intervention, and we can offer that, and, they're gonna be our students, so the earlier we can get them. So at Sequoia right now, we have 3-year-olds that will come, and they might just come for their services, so it might be twice a week just for speech services, or it might be an hour a day in Mrs. Spears' room getting special education services, or they might be there all day, depending on the level of need and how they are enrolled, whether they're in a partnership with Adventure. Anytime we're out doing a public event or like outreach, through the outreach center, we always have our child find procedures with us and sharing that with families.
How many
And we share
kids
with
do
our
we have in
pediatrician's
that?
office.
Well, so like when I say on enrollment, we have 17 additional pre-K3 and Adventure Head Start, 3 or 4 of those are probably.
I'd say 5 right now, and then we've got probably 2 or 3 in the queue. So if I'm coming to you in a couple of weeks or months saying we need additional staff, it's because we're getting additional 3-year-olds.
Nice slug right there.
Yeah, give me the, I'll turn the
You were the podium. And does this, this is birth through what, 20?
So we serve 3 and up, so Sooner Start serves from birth to 3, and then there's a soft handoff in that where they notify us, we meet with parents, we explain the services that we have, and then parents have a choice of if they wanna initiate that at age 3 or if they wanna wait until they actually enter at age 4 or 5.
And until their 22nd birthday?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, that's on our OAP kiddos, so if they're doing a alternative diploma, then they can stay with us until they're 22. And so they're continue working on those life skills and transition program.
It really is truly amazing, all that we do as a district for the children of this community. That's my new favorite thing.
Sorry, Robert.
Nikki, what's our number today, do you know?
858.
858 students.
When we talked about that enrollment numbers kind of evening out, it has not evened out. Like, we might have kids moving out, but we're getting a lot of our kids coming in have some kind of services. So
Is that number, that's kids with IEPs?
yes, and that's all the way from speech only, all the way up to your highest category. And about 67 on a 504.
What is, I think we have talked about this before, that's significantly higher than what the like state average is, right?
Yes, it is higher than state average.
And that's because we have independent schools and we serve a rural area and all of those things, I think, but.
Well, and
And we have a group home and 2 group homes in Tahlequah, so it's a higher concentration of kiddos that have high needs too.
we talk, I mean, I think being in the Cherokee Nation, they have such great resources for their families. That a lot of those families move here for those other resources, and then their babies most likely come to school with us.
We're not at that disproportionate level yet, we just are on that higher end on our percentages.
Any further discussion? We couldn't exist at all without technology. Say what's wrong. Okay, ready to take a vote?
Aye.
Dr. Crawford. Aye. Mrs. Crawford. Aye. And aye. Item K, business items, consent docket, vote to approve the following, and we have 1 through 4, contracts and agreements, 2024-25 school year, 25-26 school year, out of state and overnight trips, and 4 facility usage agreement. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
A second.
Any discussion? Ms. Nemo?
Aye.
Dr. Kaufman?
Aye.
Mrs. Crawford?
Aye.
And aye. Item L, discussion and vote to approve the schedule of encumbrances.
Move to approve, okay, sorry.
Go ahead, that's fine.
Move to approve L1 and 2.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Ms. Nemo?
Aye.
Dr. Kaufman?
Aye.
Mrs. Crawford? And aye.
Diane not being here is throwing out, usually we do both over here, both over
Yeah,
here, we got a
yeah.
rhythm and.
We get our rhythm.
Oh, we're all thrown off today.
Item M, executive session. Executive session 20, authority 25 Oklahoma statute 307B, 1, 2, and 7. The board proposes to discuss the following matters during its closed sessions. 1, superintendent evaluation, part 4 of 4, personal qualities. And then also the summary and final evaluation. And 2, superintendent terms and conditions of employment. I need a motion for us to go to executive. Do we have a vote? Yes.
I move that we enter executive session for the purposes stated.
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Neiman?
Aye.
Dr. Kaufman?
Aye.
Mrs. Crawford?
Aye.
And aye.
see it come on.
We are ready. Item N, the board has returned to open session at 8:33. And item O, the board president's statement of the executive session. We were in executive session to do part 4 of 4 not domains, but sections of the superintendent's evaluation. And we also looked at and discussed superintendent's contract. We completed the evaluation and no action was taken. Item P, vote to approve the superintendent contract with Tanya Jones for the 2025-26, 2026-27, 2027-28 school years. Do I have a motion?
To approve.
Second.
Any discussion on that? I think we've discussed that pretty thoroughly. Ms. Nemo?
Aye.
Dr. Coughlin?
Aye.
Mrs. Crawford? Aye. And I. Item Q, motion and vote to approve the personnel items 1 through 3 with the under 2 addition of 3 names: Mallory Barrett, Cherokee part-time para-sub, Hannah Jordan, multi-site sped teacher, Chelsea Webster, THS part-time para-sub. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve. I'll second.
Ms. Nemo?
Aye.
Dr. Coughlin?
Aye.
Mrs. Crawford? Aye. And aye. Do we have any new business? We do not. And with that, we are adjourned.